afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting Propagandacast from your host, Imperial Dane. We're off here to a 1 versus 1 on Crossing in the Woods. Yes, indeed, Crossing in the Woods is where the action will be happening right here between Jesulin fighting here for the United States of America and the 3rd Armored Division going up here versus Soldiers of Liberty, aka I think Korean Army, fighting here for Germany, for the Reich, and the 86th Infanterie Division holding the line here versus armies. Achtung! We got Riflemen on the way, and we got airborne, mechanized, and armor companies here for Jesulin, whereas Soldiers of Liberty are facing off with close air support, mechanized assault, and Osttruppen. Noting, by the way, a dual rear echelon troops here start from Jesulin. Thus opting for a bit more early sort of territorial grabbing power here, and then later ending in some of the more sturdier riflemen here. We note here a bit of a more aggressive push here for the west viewpoint here from Soldiers of Liberty, rushing straight off with the Pioneers as soon as the Infantry Company is up. And connecting a point here now and connecting this point right away. So that's a very sort of aggressive opening right there from Soldiers of Liberty. Could be derailed, but so far, I mean, with the effort here, in fact from Jesulin going towards the right hand side, he's probably a bit safe there. But a bit risky there, a bit risky in some regards, but definitely interesting as well. Second rifle score there on the way for Jesulin. Securing points left and right. Could consider some barbed wire tank traps here and there to deny cover or create some, and then deny it. MG42 following up there for Soldiers of Liberty versus Jesulin. Pioneers holding up behind a few old rowing boats. And there we go. First engagement, Jesulin troops here versus the Pioneers. Pioneers crossing over, so Jesulin troops pulled back. Grenadiers could move to try and support, but no. Soldiers of Liberty does not seem to want to support this pioneer. He could use some body fire, but that's already too late now. The Pioneers maybe already closed in. But there we go, Grenadiers supporting. Fritz went down first, but Jack and Joe then quickly follow after. We do see Jesulin there forced to retreat his rear echelon unit away from Soldiers of Liberty's forces. Quick counter-attack here from the other side though. Jesulin taking the Grenadiers in cover. Pioneers can't really assist here. Got another Grenadier squad arriving. He might be having the MD4 supporting slowly but surely. So right here, Jesulin will find himself locally outnumbered by Soldiers of Liberty. Attack from as many possible positions, and MD42 opening up as well. And there we go. Jesulin quick pulling back. He might move over to the building to sort of ensconce himself within there. Rifleman heading up there. Third Grenadier squad there on the way for Soldiers of Liberty and Germany.
The new Grenadier squad is ready.
We got to go the 3rd Grenadier squad. Question is, what will Jesulin actually go for? He's flooding with a manpower fuel. He could go for a lieutenant if he wanted to. Definitely a question there that is worth asking. Jesulin troops back here. Pioneers counter-attacking once more, hoping to push them back this time around. Though the Pioneers already, and there we go, volley fire as well. Should allow them to get those pioneer out of there, but not before Henry goes down. Rifleman holding up there. Though they are beginning to take some losses, they are rather low on health now. Jesulin's been there kind of for much longer. Troops flanking in. I do think we've got a lieutenant here on the way. Yes, indeed. Still a bit of manpower being flooded. It might be that Jesulin has some kind of plan, relying only on 2 echelon troops and 2 rifle squads initially, which is a bit interesting to note there. It's definitely not your usual kind of American opening of anything, but so far it seems to be paying off here for Jesulin. But at the same time, it is giving Soldiers of Liberty a bit of a chance of getting back in the fight, since he doesn't have to worry about so many riflemen pressuring him too much. Pathfinder's arriving then, and Lieutenant also soon here. At the same time, a bit of harassment towards the fuel point. No, oh, there we go. Soldiers of Liberty reacting on this. Rather quickly end up in a bit of a bad spot. Like to make a nice company up already here for Soldiers of Liberty as well. Ambulance out for Jesulin, or at least on the way. Finding so far centering around the left-hand side, more center towards part of the map, the eastern part of the map. So far utterly ignored here. Soldiers of Liberty so far focusing on his part before venturing out further, and certainly struggling a bit just to hold this part as well, so it's understandable. Lieutenant moving ahead here. safely taking up positions there in heavy cover, opening up the Grenadiers, forcing their way with the aid of some Pathfinders as well. And got the MG42 in a bit of trouble from the Pathfinders. Getting off some good shots there versus the Krauts. There's a cut one. We got a scout car on the way for Soldiers of Liberty. I like to punch Spearback. And actually, Jesulin would be reasonably vulnerable to it at the moment. He's got absolutely nothing. He can do some serious damage to him. He's got no veterancy on the rifleman, so no rifle anti-tank grenade. So scout car with the autocannon can actually do a lot of damage here right now to Jesulin. On the other hand, Jesulin saying,
We are losing a sector.
Jesulin is saving up some fuel there. I mean, I suppose he could try and go for a half that comes down to that, since he's not going for an M20, which is usually what you expect, or maybe a 50 caliber. But there, scout car has arrived to sort of reveal itself, and certainly now he might of course figure a half that's going to be sort of a decent counter towards that, which it certainly is. But of course he could decide on something else there. Oh, no, there we go. A half there on the way for Jesulin. A fourth Grenadier squad actually arriving for Soldiers of Liberty, no say Panzer Grenadiers, but a fourth Grenadier squad. Staying a distance here versus unit heavy car. Generally, I mean, you're better off sort of trying to close into units with the scout cars, I find. In particular, stuff like the Tendril rifle with that veterancy, I mean, get in as close as possible, because since there's less scatter on the autocannon, and you can do a lot more damage versus the units. That way, you can actually almost maul them and wipe them out if you do it well. So in this regard, I do feel like Soldiers of Liberty could stand to be a bit more aggressive with this scout car here versus the Americans. Do see some machine guns being handed out to the Grenadiers here, left and right. Oh, looks like he's finally moved towards the right hand side, going to see if he can't draw out some of Jesulin's forces, weakening this up a bit. Not a bad idea at all. Not a bad idea at all. Bunker up for Soldiers of Liberty. Scout car still holding. But now we do have the anti-aircraft power attack here arriving for Jesulin. Soon to arrive on the field and provide fire support here versus the scout car and any crowd infantry. With its large quantity of guns, including a 30mm gun.
Contact! Keep low! Keep low! Orders incoming!
37 actually, come to think of it. Anyways, going to force away there. Good push there by the lieutenant, supported by rear troops and the Pathfinders. Oh, Lieutenant here might be a bit of trouble here versus the Grenadiers, but then again the Grenadiers are quickly taking heavy losses. And ultimately, we do see Soldiers of Liberty be forced away there at the same time. Oh, scout car might be able to get it. Can he get? No, getting stuck in something. Ah, scheisse. An attempt at flanking, but it looks like he caught up in some wrong terrain there. Sadly, could not get past the arc of fire here on the air half track. Instead, the 222 went down without actually even doing much damage overall to the Americans. That rather, to a certain extent, maybe not quite do as much there as Soldiers of Liberty might have hoped for. Paratroopers on the way there. So the question is, what will Soldiers of Liberty do now after the loss of that scout car? I mean, getting a pattern now would certainly be a good idea to try and help deal with that AA half-track. Otherwise, things are going to get very ugly for him and the Germans soon enough due to its severe amount of firepower and mobility. Reaction troops actually a bit of trouble there from the Grenadier. Light machine gun fire raking them down. In the meanwhile, got another unit here where he has, in fact, all of his reaction troops are far, far away from everything else, much on their own, rather than exposed. There we go, Petrus out, getting light machine guns. Left flank coming under heavy assault here from Jesulin. Moving in, there we go, a half track, plastering the Krauts. Getting off some nasty kills there.
A capture point is being overrun. Contact!
Nasty, nasty.
Contact! MG42!
But there you go, American counterattack going on from the right flank here. Again, the lieutenant supported by the Pathfinders. A vicious little combo there for Jesulin. Grenadiers and MG42 being run off by the AA half track. And there you go, Panzer Cannon on the way for the Soldiers of Liberty, trying to help deal with that AA half track. But he's quickly losing a lot of territory here. He's going to have to break out of that, and that's going to give Jesulin a bit of advantage. Also noting, Jesulin's got plenty of munitions. He could consider maybe getting some upgrades for his riflemen and rear echelon troops. Beer Yards could be one option. If he's more worried about vehicles, getting a bunch of bazookas for maybe the rear would also be a good idea, but I definitely think he should maybe try and do something with all these munitions to further solidify his hold as time is at the moment. Now taking up there from Soldiers of Liberty. And there you go, Pack 40 opening up in the air, half track getting a good hit. A bit about why they're ruined. Not sure what Soldiers of Liberty was thinking here. Quickly getting his men surrounded by all sergeant pathfinders and the lieutenant. Meanwhile, the assault on the left side also tries to break out here, but this time finding himself opposed by some paratroopers with Browning light machine guns. No suppressive fire though. He could try and do that to sort of make it more difficult for the Germans to advance. Of course, you could also just move over the A half track to deal with that. We also got a nice beacon there, which allows his paratroopers to reinforce at the front if he so wants to. Do not forget that particular aspect of the beacons that the Pathfinders can put down. Sadly though, Jesulin does not take advantage of that, instead just his retreat button. Feels like a bit of a waste, but there we go. Assault going on here. Oh dear, oh dear. Pack 40 in a lot of trouble. He's actually moving in the A half track in front of him. He's trying to get, there we go. Crew wiped out. Rather brutal stuff there from Jesulin, and now Soldiers of Liberty is in dire straits. A half track just plastering their crouch with heavy fire. And he's trying to flank up. Oh dear, MD42 also moving up. He might get it, or at least get off with good damage. There we go, Panther Faust on the AA half track. And Grenadiers moving up. He might try and recruit that Pack 40 and open up then the damaged AA half track, which might actually wipe. Oh dear, he used the Grenadier squad there with that machine gun to get it. Oh well, at least it got wiped up. There you go, jumping out of the AA half track to repair it. But at the same time, oh, roughing it there, there's the Pathfinder almost gets in again, and there we go, Pack 40 fires and killed. A bit of a turnaround there against Jesulin. Also, Rifle Squad actually went down there for Jesulin, some heavy loss there for the 3rd Armoured. Taking up going on here for Soldiers of Liberty. Meanwhile, the pressure continues up near the centre, while Jesulin is doing his best to sort of secure the left side as well, but that's probably not going to last long. And we do have a Scot on the way here already for Jesulin. And we're actually seeing Ostrom Doctrine here by Soldiers of Liberty. That, I believe, was actually a mistake by him. But oh well. Still using it. Ostrom out here dealing with some reassurance troops on the left flank. Quickly gunning them down. In the name of Germany. Sending some running.
The enemy is gaining a foothold. We are down to 300 points.
Troops reinforcing. Soldiers of Liberty trying to sort of push forwards, retake territory. Needs to do that as quickly as possible. Get those Ostrom to take some points as well. Could of course consider maybe augmenting with an officer, or maybe setting up some trenches here and there. I mean, since I don't believe Jesulin's actually got grenades researched and only has the paratroopers with them, a few trenches in the right places might actually be able to do Soldiers of Liberty some good. At least in sort of a more of a defensive fashion.
Task complete. Crew ready.
And we got a forward command post here from Jesulin as well.
Our supply line just got cut off.
Also being pushed away. And again, Jesulin is on the offensive, pushing against Soldiers of Liberty's positions. Army is on the way, I imagine soon Soldiers of Liberty will try the same, certainly getting a Panzer IV or a Stug might help a bit here, particularly now with the Scot out, which is definitely going to apply some serious pressure there to Soldiers of Liberty's infantry. With its 75mm howitzer gun there.
We're losing a capture point.
Shots fired. Paratroopers still pinned down here on MD42, but coming in. Oh! Gott in Himmel! One hell of a hit there from the howitzer motor carriage, just knocking out that heavy machine gun crew in one go. Of course, he has an option of actually using the Ostrom afterwards to sort of recruit. I mean, that would be cheap, certainly. Also, longer term reinforcements. Pack creeping up there. Grenadiers trying to cover it. But overall, Soldiers of Liberty is under a lot of pressure on both sides. And we're actually seeing fuel being traded for munitions here. Very bold, very bold. I wonder what he might be planning with that. Mines maybe, or something else. Was it just for rifle grenades? In which case, that'll certainly be an interesting move as well. But 4 grenade squads there with light machine guns. That's an awful lot of firepower as well. But he is struggling out from the firepower from Jesulin. In particular, that's Scott is providing a lot of nasty firepower. Jesulin now floating, by the way, 560 munitions. I mean, he really would benefit from an upgrade here. Again, getting some BARs for his rifle and reaction troops and such. Also the Pathfinders. Oh, scheisse! Right there, Jesulin climbed up his troops too close here. I mean, of course, it makes it easy to reinforce and all that, but oh dear. One hell of a hit there from Soldiers of Liberty and rifle, and that just left so many dead and wounded. I even think he got a Jesulin squad there. Nasty hit. Certainly took advantage there of Jesulin being a bit reckless for a brief moment. Definitely not what you usually see. And they're all crawling in the same direction. I wonder what's lying there.
Enemy forces are securing our territory.
And they just sort of twitch and die. But again, trying to push forwards. MG4 here by Pioneers need to get that back before the Scot knocks it out once more. And what is this? An artillery barrage by the looks at it from the Major. Ruining the trees, which could be filled with crabs. Second Ostrom unit, by the way, out here for Soldiers of Liberty, helping take territory and draw fire and attention away from the rest of the troops. A lot of fighting here on the left flank. Lieutenant though needs to get away. He's quickly going to get overmanned, and we've got to get another pressure versus the fuel point over there. A Sherman might be an idea for Jesulin, sort of with high explosive rounds. Try and deal here with Soldiers of Liberty, who's definitely going to delay his armor further due to the fact he traded a lot of fuel for munitions. He could consider fuel castle to make up for that. Oh, quickly getting away there with the Scot firing away. Quickly getting away. No point in hanging about much. And getting the fuel point over here, denying a bit to Jesulin, but Jesulin's quite far ahead. Jesulin is quite far ahead. So far enjoying a reasonably strong position here versus Soldiers of Liberty, though he keeps trying his pressure up. Also got the rocket straight through. Of course, that could be real one thing that Jesulin is saving up a lot of munitions for, but even then, I mean, he could do a lot more versus Soldiers of Liberty now with a few proper BARs, though, goals. He's actually suffered a lot of losses, even lost last Jesulin unit there, so Jesulin is beginning to make a few mistakes, it seems, or at least either that or Soldiers of Liberty sort of regain back. And he's trading munitions again, or trading fuel again. He does have a support armor core up, but my god. He should be trying to aim for that, but instead he keeps trading away from it. For munitions. And the Torben are just getting slaughtered here. And this is nothing short of just an execution. Pathfinder's doing pretty well here. 13 kills though for Jesulin. 13 kills. Veterans, E3 there. Definitely good troops here. Lieutenant about to get hit by a rifle grenade though. And paratrooper versus the grenades. Out negative cover. Even veteran E3 there in a bad position if they're negative cover. Scheisse. Rückzug. Heinz. Still no sign of anything further here from Jesulin. No tanks, for example. I mean, he could aim for a Sherman right now, I think. Or soonish. Aim for a Sherman. With some high explosive rounds to sort of pound Soldiers of Liberty on the head. Nothing from the support armor core yet. Lieutenant being held up there. No grenade upgrades either. I mean, now we're up at 666. Or the number of the beast in terms of munitions. I mean, once you hit that, you might want to consider expending some of your munitions of upgrades. I mean, you know. Looks like Jesulin's here the process of clearing out a minefield using his Scot. Great Scot. Attack moving forward here, but actually I think took a hit. Oh! Good lord, he actually cleared it out. That was probably not quite intentionally, but it worked out nonetheless. And there goes Sherman on the way here for Jesulin and the 3rd Armoured. Victory points secure. In fact, we know here Soldiers of Liberty rather behind, but now he might be able to gain a bit of a lead there, at least sort of make up the difference. He still needs more fuel. A fuel cache would be a good choice. And And he's certainly managed to dent Jesulin here a bit with all those infantry casualties. He's now got the larger force with a lot more automated weaponry, which will certainly give him a bit of advantage if he can sort of leverage it correctly. Then again, Jesulin does possess the larger amount of armor right now, so it's going to be problematic at the same time. Grenadier doing what they can here. Another awesome squad on the way. We got another artillery barrage going in from the Major. Lieutenant almost down. Oh no! Entire unit wiped out there. Another small victory here for Soldiers of Liberty versus Jesulin and the 3rd Armoured. Paratroops are catching all the gunners out in the open, but they are themselves out in the open, even if they are veterans free. Caught here by 2 gunners. Got light machine guns. Is generally a course to get the hell out of there. Though the Scot does provide ample fire support there. Still nowhere closer to any piece of armor right there for Soldiers of Liberty, although he's getting rather close to a Sturmgeschütz, which could be useful. But then he might want to go for the safer option, go for a Panzer IV instead. I mean, considering the time that's passed, an Ostwind, I'm afraid, won't be able to sort of get any sort of initial advantage. So you need some regular armor before even considering an Ostwind flak Panzer. A lot of territories are saying he's using, by the way, the Ostrom sort of you do that job, basically so they can draw fire and also survive, but also basically just, you know, he doesn't have to use more worthwhile troops on that. And instead keep the Grenadiers focused on fighting his opponent for the most part. But there you go. Now Soldiers of Liberty is actually enjoying quite the map control here versus Jesulin. Quite the map control. We've got a second Sherman here already on the way for Jesulin. His opponent doesn't even have a single tank yet. He's got soon 3. That's definitely going to be tricky here for Soldiers of Liberty in Germany. And it's not like he can rely on Tigers, so he's going to have to rely on the support armor quad, what it can provide. But there you go, assault going on here. MD4 troop finding covering fire here for the Grenadiers as they advance. The Pathfinders and the paratroopers sadly not able to sort of quickly stop it enough. We also got the paratroopers here, or Pathfinders, with 16 kills now. Sherman and Scott moving in. We've got high explosive rounds here on this Sherman as well. Good, good, except it can't hit. There we go. Second Sherman mobilizing here for Jesulin and the 3rd Armoured.
All right, fellas, final check.
Pathfinders on the left, or the left flank, getting into back on these. They're on their own, so they're not really as strong. They're better, you know, when they're supporting other troops, using the marksman rifles there to sort of pick off troops on the left. Oh, the Ostrom pushed away. Pack forward. Oh, Sherman went down. Oh, that was a Scot, actually. That was a Scot. I would have thought you got the Sherman, but no. Got the Scot there, looks like. Jesulin messed up a bit there. But it is time for the mid-game analysis. Current situation is Soldiers of Liberty, after a bit of a tough start, they've actually turned the table on Jesulin. Jesulin having suffered heavy infantry casualties, partly flooding munitions, again not expending it, sort of further toughen up what infantry he had, has now assaulted in. Soldiers of Liberty pushing forward, partly using the Ostrom to basically just, you know, take territory while the infantry sort of more generally fights. Good job there, sort of nice combination of things. He's slowly getting towards armour, though he's definitely going to continue. He's also got plenty of munitions. He could consider some mines here and there in the right places. That I think would benefit Soldiers of Liberty nicely. He's also rather close to getting a Panzer IV, which would also do him quite a bit of good here versus Jesulin, so he should definitely consider getting that. But more mines would be a good job, I think. So try and help here versus Jesulin and all of his armor, because I imagine Jesulin's going to go for more armor, and that's certainly not going to be a bad idea. But again, he needs to upgrade something in terms of, you know, firepower, and he needs to get it on his troops. So it's not just the paratroopers carrying it all in the longer run. I mean, again, the Pathfinders, Veterans of 3, could benefit from a pair of BARs. Same with the rear echelon troops, they could definitely also do a bit more here for Jesulin with a pair of Browning automatic rifles, sort of try and deal with the crouch that way. So he really should consider then getting some more regular infantry scores that way as well. If he can do that, he's going to have a lot more better sort of means of pressuring Soldiers of Liberty infantry and also killing it off, which will definitely do him good. I mean, if he can wipe even one Grenadier squad there, that's going to do him quite the benefit in the longer run. So that's definitely something that should be considered. Another option would also be considering some grenades or other stuff, then the paratroopers might have a chance of doing it if he actually gets more riflemen though. But otherwise another Sherman, and otherwise, you know, making some good use of the smoke and then launching assault on it could be a good idea there for Jesulin here in the fight versus Soldiers of Liberty and the Reich. So, back to the fight here. But again, mines, for example, here would be a good spot for some tiller mines. So here, ace mines would be good there. Same for some tiller mines here. I mean, there are a lot of options there for Soldiers of Liberty to consider some mines. And the Ostrom are just getting massacred. 50 caliber high close rounds, making extremely short work of another Ostrom squad. In fact, he's lost both of them now. Looking a bit tricky here for Soldiers of Liberty. He's losing some of those advantages he's managed to build up. Sherman seeing some useful and happy repairs there. Kind of sneaking out there, trying to maybe ambush the paratroops up here in the river crossing. Good job there. Next to cover the paratroops will certainly be easy to deal with. And there we go. Jesulin realizes and quickly pulls back since he does not fancy pointlessly wasting some otherwise valuable paratroopers, which are quite expensive to maintain. And there you go. Finally, a bit of armor here arrives to support the infantry division. Pack cleared out again, my god. There goes, showing a bit of trouble getting hammered here by the Pack 40, closing in on Victory 2. And a higher rate of fire. Shoot, Fritz! Shoot for that big metal box! I mean, the Americans didn't exactly make them tiny. You know how they are, big everything. Which also makes them big targets, which is good for us. But there you go, Panzerkampfwagen 4 mobilized for the front line here. Sent in by the nearby 2nd Panzer Division to provide support. And provide a bit more means of counter-attacking versus Jesulin. And the 3rd Armoured. The 3rd Armoured, by the way, suffering huge armour losses throughout the war. They were probably the division which lost the most tanks. They suffered massive losses. We're talking, you know, 500 to 400% losses throughout the war. So a little fun fact there, and their personnel losses were even higher. So a little fun fact there, little fun fact. Oh, shot went off there versus the Panzer IV. Panzer IV misses in return. Come on, Dieter, where did you learn to shoot? Russia. Anyways, Jesulin was getting at the top of the grenades on the right flank. And we're seeing here now that Soldiers of Liberty is getting a lot more fuel in, thanks to having some of those fuel points as well. He could consider fuel can sort of further support that. We'll see. Another Panzer IV could work. He could also consider getting a Sturmgeschütz up to support the Panzer IV. That could also work out. But so far we've got here Jesulin with 3 Shermans. Moving the pack up here. Not because, you know, not having it revealed itself by holding it so far. Ooh, trying to get the Sherman there, but looks like the Sherman might get away. He might actually here Mr. Jesulin lay down a smoke screen. We also got a rocket strafe actually going in. You now know where the Panzer IV is, but, you know, it's not within the circle of fire, so I'm not entirely sure what he's doing. He must have been suspecting it was there, but it isn't actually. It's a bit of an interesting decision there by Jesulin. One possibility there was a misclick or some other kind of thing like that, which is, well, certainly quite unfortunate, but at least he's not floating nearly as much munitions now. Canadians are wiped out almost here by the Sherman, closing in on Victory 2. And 1 aircraft went down there. Actually killing some of the tank crew. So, guys, are you there? No, you're not. You're dead. Bit unfortunate there for Jesulin. He's going to have to cover that Panzer IV while he gets repaired. While the crew gets back on its feet and back in the fight. Otherwise, that could be something Soldiers of Liberty could gain. Pack 40 here. Victory 2 well versus Sherman. Target big point. Ah, scheisse. It is a bit of a problematic ability. There's a lot of things that sort of basically disrupt and cause you to waste munitions. So, I mean, it is a tricky ability. I wish they'd sort of look into maybe make it a bit more reliable. There you go, Panzer IV moving ahead. Port tower being secured.
Well done. We have forced the enemy down to
But again, looks like he's aiming for a 2nd Panzerkampfwagen 4. Once more aiming for the safest of choices there.
The enemy is attempting to steal our
Pioniere being run off. And there we go, German coming far here. Panzer IV moving in, slowly but surely. And straight in front here, the Shermans, all of them at once. A lot of danger there from Jesulin. The Panzer IV quickly pulls back though, having done a bit of damage. And there we go, head-on assault here from the Jesulin troops actually running coming fire here from the advancing paratroopers. That's a clever idea actually, that's a clever idea that they might have benefited from a few PARs to sort of help with that. Well, either way though, the assault is a bit ruined here by the presence of the Panzer IV. Shermans though, counter-attacking here. Another airstrike going in, the Panzer IV actually has reason to be careful. Panzer IV's going off the Sherman, damaging the engine, and there we go, Panzer IV taking hits left and right, blitzkrieging. An all chaotic escape there, grenadiers getting slaughtered as well by the rockets flying. Oh, almost got the Panzer IV there. Another Panzer IV on the way, and meanwhile on the left flank seeing a lot less action. Major run off with some rather severe tenacity there. And we know he's keeping on with sort of 2 Jesulin troops at all times, but again, he should consider upgrading, though should have. Now it might be a bit too late there. You spend a time minutes there on the strafing runs there, or P-47 rocket runs, either way. Second Panzer IV advances for Deutschland and moves straight into the arc of fire. A zone of attack anyways. And Soldiers of Liberty hiding away his other Panzer IV as far away as possible, feeling perhaps a bit paranoid. That was a bit of an effectual rocket strike there from the Americans. Quick rocket grenade there on the paratroopers. Jesulin still getting increasingly short infantry on that, and he's getting a lot of tanks. He's up to now 4 Shermans. 4 Shermans. That's definitely a lot of tanks. Now the aircraft crashing down there straight on a tree. No survivors there, I'm pretty sure. And we can just see it. Jesulin's just tearing into the German infantry there with his Sherman tanks. Panzer IV doing what he can to sort of push them away. He's basically being overwhelmed since Jesulin's offering him sort of units of 2 attacking from different points, basically getting sort of local fire advantage, because Jesulin's still repairing his tanks and he thus can't get them in the field. Even artillery going in there, clearing out any sort of strong points that might get in the way of the Shermans. Right here, they could actually maybe try and get that Panzer IV, but he's actually pulling back here. Looks like Jesulin. Oh, never mind. He's moving into line of fire. Scheiße! Scheiße! Ah! He got one of the Shermans and he also lost the Panzer IV. That's not really something Soldiers of Liberty at the moment can sort of get away with. Target weak point did go from the Sherman, but there were 2, and they quickly make short work over the Pak 40 with the high explosive rounds that they might want to consider shifting back to armor piercing. Panzer IV here versus the Sherman. Got that Panzer IV rolling ahead, and immediately come under fire here. Oh, still firing high explosive rounds there. Shots still bouncing off the frontal armor of the Panzerkampfwagen. And we actually got railway artillery going in there. Straight on to paratroopers in the hopes of catching them. Oh, and the veteran 3 paratroopers. Jesulin was a bit more confident than apparently should have allowed himself to be. And the result was total annihilation there. No survivors. And that's definitely going to give Soldiers of Liberty then a massive infantry advantage. Armor-wise, though, he's still struggling here versus Jesulin's rolling forces. But if we can keep up the pressure versus Jesulin's infantry, that's going to be good. Got the Panzer IV moving to try and deal with the Sherman over here on the right flank. Will there be more armor soon on the way here for him? No, in fact, actually, fuel for munitions here. He could blitzkrieg and actually try to get that Sherman before it escapes. Bit of a struggle here for Soldiers of Liberty trying to maintain sort of control of the victory points, as Jesulin's of course doing the same. Victory points following up by the two, actually pretty close, 150 versus 155, 53. A few Panzer Gunners could maybe also be an idea here for Soldiers of Liberty versus Jesulin. So got the Panzer IV rolling back. He could actually consider second Pioneer Squad to speed up the repairs of that Panzer IV. I mean, keeping that veteran Panzer IV in best condition as possible most of the time is definitely going to be a good choice there for Soldiers of Liberty. If you can get that to veteran field, that should give him a good chance here versus Jesulin, despite having a lot more Shermans. But there you go, clearing another Pack 40. We've got another one though firing again. And oh, Paratrooper was caught there, taking one hell of a hit there from the Panzer IV, forcing the unit away. And a damaged Panzer IV rolls briefly hit before pulling out. We got a Jackson there following up now for Jesulin, realizing he needs something a bit more extra punchy versus the Panzerkampfwagen Fears. Second pack there on the way for Soldiers of Liberty. And Jesulin troops are being torn to bits by the Pioneers up, or well, support crew there on the MU-42 up close. Still, more Pioneers are needed to repair that Panzer IV.
New anti-tank gun has arrived.
I mean, otherwise it's going to take ages. Nice connecting hit there from the Pack 40. And Sherman straight into that Panzer IV. But again, it's going to take ages. And there you go, looks like Soldiers of Liberty realises that and pulls back. But Jesulin's got no infantry left. Almost. I mean, he's got some paratroopers and the Major, and that is it. Jesulin needs to desperately rectify that. Otherwise, he's definitely going to, I think, to struggle here versus Soldiers of Liberty with a larger infantry force. Mildly put.
We are losing a sector.
Victory points. Costly shifting back now. Looking a bit against Soldiers of Liberty again. He'd managed to sort of drag a lot of them out of Jesulin, but now Jesulin is shining this height once more. Might want to be careful there with the Major. One thing Jesulin right now could consider trying to be to sort of assemble all of his armour into one force and then sort of swing up here and then trying to attack Soldiers of Liberty's position from one side, outflanking them, wrecking them in one sort of grand manoeuvre. I might also afterwards clear out the armour. Panzer IV, they're almost ready and very close to veterancy free. Another Panzer IV could be an option now. He's got the fuel for it, just needs the manpower. And another paratroop squad arriving there for Jesulin, the 3rd Armoured. Apparently, organic infantry cannot be provided from its infantry battalions. And they go attacking the base. Ostrom could get off a Panzerfaust there on Jesulin's armour, but he's not doing it. Oh dear, that's a missed opportunity. I think could have gotten the Jackson that way. It's a bit of a missed opportunity, I think, by Soldiers of Liberty versus Jesulin. But certainly been some time since I've seen such heavy armour play from an American player, and he's actually doing it quite well. To a certain extent, though, he's beginning to sort of running some problems. And he's also, partly because he's constantly spinning up his tanks, sort of try and make up for the lack of infantry. That way, he has to use the tanks to sort of hold the terrain. But tanks are not really good for that. You really need infantry to sort of hold points and so on. It only makes the Sherman sort of more exposed to their own and also a bit easier to knock out, and there you go, isolate. So there you go, another tank kaput. Hopefully Jesulin can rectify this, but again, it is a bit highly risky strategy. He's now playing here, basically using the Shermans to hold ground. It also makes it easy just basically for Jesulin or Soldiers of Liberty to creep forward with the Pack 40s. Another Sherman here on the way for the 3rd Armoured. Paratroopers getting shredded by the MG-42s. Veteran free, that's neat. Oh, an entire gun squad there wiped out for Soldiers of Liberty. Losses inflicted upon the Reich. You got the Sherman rolling back a bit. He could consider setting up some Ostrom again to take away territory here from Jesulin. In fact, he might be doing that. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. No further armor though from Soldiers of Liberty, actually getting some more Grenadier. He could consider another Panzer IV to support what he has, but he feels apparently rather confident in his 2 packs and his Panzer IV, Betty 2 soon Veteran 3 here, versus Jesulin's armoured force. But again, it might have something to do with Jesulin constantly spreading out his tanks to make them easy to deal with one-on-one here for the Panzer IV, rather than using the numbers that Jesulin does have with them to sort of, again, deliver a much more crushing blow to Soldiers of Liberty.
We have few resources available. We need order.
Panzer IV Wagner, there you go, Sherman moving ahead, coming in a far from the Panzermekanone. And there you go, artillery strike going in as well. Massive assault going in, trying to catch that Panzer IV blitzkrieging away. Airstrike going in as well. Opening up there, missing the Panzer IV quite severely. Packs being cleared out, simply overwhelmed here by the sheer force and numbers here of Jesulin's armor. There we go, that's what we're looking for. A overwhelming armored assault. Grenadier squad wiped out in one vicious volley as well. Panzer IV, they're rolling back, might try to catch some units here, but at the same time, has to be careful. He's going to move into the arc of fire there of the aircraft. Packs wrecked. Soldiers of Liberty all of a sudden in a bad position again once Jesulin sort of amassed for a proper assault. More packs on the way here for Mr. Soldiers of Liberty. Panzer IV extremely close to Veteran 3. I mean, just one more good hit and it can actually begin shooting much faster and get a lot more mobile here versus Jesulin's armor. So Mark 1's going to actually getting back to doing that a bit. And there you go, Veteran 3 shooting down an enemy aircraft. Panzer IV moving ahead, and there you go. Sherman striking the crouch down. Bit of a gauntlet there for Soldiers of Liberty's men. Another railway artillery going down, another rocket strike here versus the Veteran 3 Panzer IV. Will he be paying attention? Oh, was Ostruppen wiped out. Oh, there we go. Almost make the exact same mistake again. They're losing the paratroopers to a full strike there from the railway artillery. Panzer IV dodges every rocket by standing still. Meanwhile, they proceeds to basically massacre the paratroopers right there with its high rate of fire. German attacking. Pack 40 head on there. He also got a silver strike going down there on the German support positions. He should be able to get that German. In fact, if he blitzkriegs up towards it, he should be able to do the high rate of fire plus higher armor. But no, he does not pursue here. Soldiers will be preparing for the bit. Oh, no, Mike Jackson moving in. German moving in. The armoured assault train there is on the way. Again, getting close to force Germans. Still lacking in infantry. Panzer IV almost down. Blitzkrieg again. Still got the packs, though. He definitely needs to be careful of those packs. There we go. Moving straight into the pack front. Grenadier mountain to try and get off a Panzerfaust there. There we go. One German with a damaged engine. More Grenadiers, Pioneers moving up. Panzer IV though. In desperate need of presence. Now we've got another Sherman down here for Jesulin. He could even maybe get the other one. Maybe. There we go. Another Sherman moving in. We got the other one here from as well. Main gun destroyed. Pop smoke. Come on, Jesulin. He's actually not used smoke. Oh, there we go. But too late this time around. Oh dear.
We have 100 points remaining.
Sherman a complete mess. And another Panzer IV there for Soldiers of Liberty versus Jesulin. Jesulin they're extremely short on infantry, but points they're getting close still. 88 versus 96, 95. But again, the lack of infantry is hurting Jesulin. He's not doing a lot to sort of try and deal with that. He's just getting more and more tanks. Another railway artillery strike here, trying to once more catch some of Jesulin's infantry in one Massive explosion. He certainly has not been shy about using those.
Panzer here. We have a new Panzer 4.
There you go, second Panzer arriving.
We must stiffen our resolve. We are down to 75 points.
Looks like he's sending in the sort of fresher tank first. Oh dear, engagement over here. Sherman taking on Soldiers of Liberty's infantry and support guns. Got the Panzer Force in moving to try and get that Sherman. Could end up ugly here for Jesulin. There we go. Oh dear, the rookie missed. Jackson, another Sherman moving in, Pack 40 firing. Barely holding on. And there, oh, Sherman, they both miss? My gosh. Well, there we go. Other Panzer firing with a shot, and there we go. Both going off there on the not veteran Panzer 4, and the Jackson has got a damage engine. That's a good chance there for Soldiers of Liberty to knock it out, finish off, ensure that, well, Jesulin has nothing to sort of really miss with this Panzer 4 anymore. But he's not going in after it. He could easily blitzkrieg and knock it out, I think.
Enemy is down to 75 points.
He could have knocked it out before it even got off 2 shots, I think, or maybe 3. Points looking ever lower here for the 2, but both of them are still sort of keep tracking the other one down. More from here arriving for Soldiers of Liberty, still maintaining a decent back force presence here. Versus Jesulin, who's still not really getting a lot more replacement. Instead, he's getting more replacement armor.
We are losing a sector.
There we go, Sherman up top of the Pack 40. Another smoke screen, there we go, this time in time. Good job there. Well, also moving over to hold that west victory point, even maybe executing the major there. Oh dear, Panzer encountering the Jackson right there, point blank. That does not bode well. Oh, Jackson actually missed now. There's might be a chance for the Panzer 4 to get it. If it can hit. Come on, Fritz. Ah, Scheisse. Main gun destroyed. Going in after it. And there we go. Ambulance damage relatively called in it on the infantry at the base. And there you go, GG from Jesulin, well played. Jackson abandoned, and GG well played there from Soldiers of Liberty, and game over. A vicious one-on-one fight here, crossing on the woods. Some heavy armor battles here in the sort of mid to late game, as Jesulin basically flooded the field with numerous Sherman tanks. He also lost several of them, partly because he was a bit of a problem there using sort of smoke screens. Probably, I think, initially only used them sort of later on when things got a bit more troublesome. I also think, he needed more infantry support. All that was definitely one thing I felt that held Jesulin back. And also that early sort of munitions foot was definitely, I think, also a wrong thing. He should have done it, sort of upgrade his initial troops, sort of that way gain more firepower versus Soldiers of Liberty. I think he could have won and actually done it reasonably fast if he'd done that, but instead, it got a bit dragged out. He made mistakes with his tanks. Soldiers of Liberty sort of got up some good kill zones with his Pack 40s, Panzer fired some, caught them, and then of course used the Panzer 4s to knock out several of them. In the end, it rather turned against Jesulin. Partly because, again, it also forced Jesulin to use his tanks in situations where they do not excel, like, for example, holding a stretch of a front all on its own, which allowed Soldiers of Liberty, for example, just creep out a Pack 40 and knock it out. So that was a bit problematic there, I think, for Jesulin, and it could have been done better. But there you go. Still an interesting fight there. Good fight with some good armoured action from both sides and some vicious infantry fighting as well. So, hope you all enjoyed. Hope you learned something. If you did want to subscribe to your friends, share it with everyone. If not, send it to me if you want to find some feedback in the comments section. This is Imperial Dancing. Cheers, and thank you all for watching. Bye.